Hey everyone, hope everybody's doing well and having a great Monday so far. Regardless of where you are, regardless of what you're doing, however you are spending it, I hope that you're having an amazing Monday so far. Hi everyone, I want to say hi as you come on in. I'm saying hi, happy Monday everybody, happy Monday, happy Monday. I realize I haven't been live in forever, but today feels like a good day to do that as we close out the 6th month of the year and we get into the 7th month. I have some things I want to share with you. I have some things that I've been discussing with people in my community and just posts I've been posting on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere really, that I kind of want to bring you guys into the conversation because I realize Instagram doesn't really get my daily thoughts. I still pretty much post my thoughts on Facebook a lot, but I try not to crowd my Instagram feed with a bunch of posts. Hi everybody, hi everyone, hope everyone's doing well, having a great Monday so far. Whatever you're doing, however you're spending it, whatever's going on in your life, I want you to know that the best is yet to come. That is the first thing I want to say. The best is yet to come, and that we get to choose how we look at circumstances in our lives. One of the ways that I've been able to create abundance and prosperity in my life has been by me and having a perspective, the perspective that I have on life. The perspective that I have on life really helps me to see circumstances and not be distracted by them. All right, so I could be going through the toughest season in my life, but then what happens is my perspective on that situation really makes a huge difference. Now, today I want to talk about a post that I posted on Instagram maybe yesterday. I post a lot of things, maybe yesterday or the day before, where someone asked, if your man pays all the bills, would you be cooking every day? And my response to that question was no. And of course, that prompted a bunch of responses, some positive, some negative, some indifferent, whatever. And then those of you that are in my Telegram broadcast, you'll know that I explained it in my Telegram group. So if you're in my Telegram group, you would have heard this already. But I definitely want to dive deeper into this idea of wants, desires, needs, goals, plans, visions, and those kind of things. So the reason why I posted that post was, of course, to be controversial, as always. I love to promote conversation, make you think about things rather than just saying yes or no to things because everyone else is doing it. A lot of the things that we're doing in this world at the moment, we do because everybody else does it. We do things because it's popular. We do things because we see that our favorite pastor, our favorite celebrity, our favorite person is doing it, and therefore we decide that we should do it. And I'm always going to be asking you to invite yourself into discovery, invite yourself into talking more about the why. Why are we doing this? Why are we saying yes to this? And it's all going to make sense. The more that I speak, you're going to kind of get a sense of where I'm going with this. And so, as I said, I posted this post. Let me see if I can find it. I will. Let me see if I can get a screenshot. Oh, I don't think I can. I should have prepared this before, but I kind of just felt the lead in to do this. Anyway, so I posted this post and it says, let me read it actually. Let me go ahead and read it. And it's on my Facebook. So if you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll see it there, where I said this. Let me go ahead. It says, okay, ladies, if a man is paying 100% of the bills, are you cooking every day? And as I said no. And the reason why I said no, this is why I said no, Rachel-Yvonne, this is my perspective, is that my desire isn't to do that every single day because it's my desire. If it's your desire to do something every single day, then that should be your desire. I have my own personal reasons for those things, and therefore the men that approach me in my life at this stage in my life, the men that I choose to be around or date or whatever, they don't require me to do those things because I am clear on what I desire. I don't pretend to be a domestic goddess. I don't pretend to be someone who's going to do ABC when really I want DEF. And the reason why I don't pretend is because I actually want to magnetize things in my life that are meant for me. And maybe the reason why you're not seeing certain things magnetize in your life the way you would desire them to be is because you are pretending to be somebody that you're not. The main thing that you need to realize in your life is that authenticity will always bring you closer to the God dream in your life. Becoming and growing into, especially for the ladies watching this, growing into the woman that you were created to be. And men, even as you vet, as you pursue women, pay attention to the things they say, the things they share, the way they approach things, the way they dress, the way they present themselves. Those things will be markers as to the type of woman that you are marrying. Those things will be markers as to the type of woman that you are marrying. So gentlemen, you're paying attention to how she dresses. You're paying attention to how she presents herself. You're paying attention to how she speaks. You're paying attention to how she responds to backlash, how she responds to confrontations, how she responds in arguments. Okay? So the woman that you decide to marry, for all of the gentlemen watching this, because there's a lot of you, you have to pay attention to those things. Don't create worlds of who she is based on what you think she might be. So if she's posting ratchet content every single day, she's half naked all of the time, she curses, she's always fighting with people in her comment section, she's very defeatist, she's negative, what kind of household do you think that she's going to create in your lifestyle? Like, let's be real here. She might be super cute, she might be sexy, you might be attracted to her, but what is she going to create in your world? On the flip side, and then of course, for example, she might say the right things every once in a while, but because you're attracted to her, you might see something that isn't there. That's why I prefer to be as authentic as possible, even though it might repel certain people. So some people don't like the way I speak, they don't like the way I dress, they don't like the things I say, they don't like my demeanor, they don't like a lot of things about me. And I love that. You know why? Because what happens is God honors the heart when it is pure. My intentions are pure. Yeah. I'm authentic in what I say and what I do. And when you meet me, what you see is what you get. And so you have to know that since I've started doing that, probably, I want to say like since like 2018-ish, 2018 has really been like the major shift for me in my life. In the last 5-6 years, I've noticed that I've been able to magnetize situations, people, circumstances, abundance, all the things because of the authenticity that I carry in my life. And therefore, especially for those of you that have been watching me all of that time, those people that have been in my communities for all of that time, you've noticed the growth and you've mentioned it. You've DM'd me about it. You sent me messages, you sent me voice notes, you've commented on posts. Those of you that don't like to comment in public, you've sent me private messages and whatever. And we've had conversations about this. And it works. That's why when I wrote that post about saying that I won't be cooking every day, or I don't cook every day, it's okay for me if you say you don't like that. If you say I'm not the woman for you, if you say I'm not your wife. You know why? Because I want you to know what you're getting yourself into. And the mistake I made in a previous lifetime, because it's not the version of Rachel that you see today, in a previous lifetime, was I would pretend to be this person that's going to be dressed like this person's going to say this person who doesn't like Beyonce, this person who's going to eat this person who's going to go here, and blah, blah, blah. And then I got those things because, you know, I'm attractive, I know how to act, I know how to pretend, I'm very good at those things. We all can be, you know, to a certain extent, especially certain types of lifestyles I've watched and been able to emulate, right? You can do that for a period of time. But there comes a point in your life where you can no longer pretend, because number one, it's going to start killing you. The longer that you pretend to be somebody that you're not, the longer that you turn off your true desires. The longer that you block yourself off from the abundance that God has for you, the longer that you choose to ignore the voice that he is calling you. The Bible lets us know in so many ways that I formed you before I knew you. I formed you in the womb. And then he also writes in so many different texts. There's different versions, different parts of scriptures. And I love the Bible. The Bible is my favorite book of all time. And everything that I share, it's from a biblical, spiritual, supernatural principle. And I think that people expect when you come from that standpoint to be a certain way. But what I've realized is that Jesus actually desires that we would become more and more like him. Not that you will become more and more like me. Not that you will become more and more like your favorite celebrity, your favorite pastor, your favorite influencer. No. Actually, that you will become more like him. But let's go back to the beginning. Genesis chapter 1. It says this. God created man and woman in his own image. Man and female created he them. Imago Dei. One of my favorite things to say. So if you've heard me speak before, you know I've read this text. I'm always reading this text because it's so important that we go back to the beginning, back to the origins. God created every one of us in his own image. In his image and likeness created he them. Male and female created he them. So that means that as much as you and I are different, as much as every woman, every man that's watching this right now and on the replay, that we are uniquely different. Every single one of us carries an image of glory. Every single one of us carries a part of Jesus. Every single one of us is a masterpiece. And you have to understand that the way that it works is that every single one of us, the Bible says that we have become his tapestry. And I bet you never heard a preacher speak like this before, but hey, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to bust myths and really kind of awaken you and open you up to a world where you understand that your uniqueness was for his glory. Anyway, let me continue on. So the Bible says that we have become his tapestry, woven together as a masterpiece. I forget the exact reference, but that is something that I always remember. So then, you and I were woven together. I remember when I was little and I used to learn how to crochet. I used to learn how to crochet, to knit. And my friend who was teaching me at the time, she was showing me how the needles, how you move the needles together, how every piece of wool is woven together, right? How it gets woven together to create this masterpiece of a scarf, this masterpiece of a hat or a sweater or a cardigan or whatever we're making at that moment, a dress, whatever we're knitting, okay? And so you have to understand that even though I might be the red thread and you might be the blue thread, and then so-and-so is the green thread and somebody else is the yellow thread, we all weave together to create this masterpiece. And therefore, you need to understand that who you are, God made you uniquely. Therefore, my desires don't need to look like your desires. I don't need to copy your lifestyle in order to live the life that God has created for me. That's why I don't buy into myths about my age, about relationship status, about different things of my experience. And I don't allow those things to rob me of the future that God has for me. Imagine if I bought into the concepts that being over 35 was this, being dark skinned was this, being divorced was this, being that was this. Imagine if I bought into those things. I literally would not be creating this kind of content for you all today. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you all is because I know so many of you, men and women, have allowed yourself to be put in a box that God didn't create. You put yourself in boxes that were not created by God, that were not given by him, but you've allowed yourself to be caught up in this mindset that does not belong to you. And the sooner you realize this is the sooner your life will get better. And this is what I've found for myself, that my life has dramatically and abundantly become better in every shape and form. My skin is better. My weight is better. Like Everything about my life is better. The finances are better. The relationships I have, the friendships, everything is better when I am my most authentic version of myself. And the most authentic version of myself isn't like when people are like, oh, just be you, just do yourself. And what they really mean is stay in the dumps, stay rubbish, stay as trash, stay wear anything, do anything, say anything. That's what people normally mean when they say be yourself. But I want to challenge you. Be yourself actually means the most authentic, divinely inspired version of yourself. That is how you magnetize your dream life. That is how you're able to say, like Jesus, I speak to the mountain and it goes in the sea. When I say things, they happen. When I declare things over my life, it happens. You know why? Because that is the most authentic version of yourself. It's a divine version of yourself. It is understanding that we know this from scriptures, and I want to just make sure I'm waving to everybody. And if you see this on the replay, just ignore this little bit right here. But you understand that as it relates to how you were created, you were divinely created to live the divine abundant life. Yes, exactly. Authentically walking with God's blessings. Exactly. And some of you, the reason why you're not able to marry the person of your dreams, and the reason why I create so much content around dating and marriage is because that's what you guys love the most. Honestly, I love to create things that you guys like to read, that you guys like to watch. And that is what you love the most, is when I talk about relationships. So therefore, that's what I create the most. And so the reason why, and I'm just going to be frank with you, your lack of authenticity is what's really blocking you from your dream life. Your lack of authenticity is what's blocking you. Even gentlemen that are watching this, and I've said this already, when you're looking at a woman and you're seeing what she's posting, because we're online right now, so let's talk about online. When you see what she's posting, you see how she presents herself, you see what she says, but in your mind, you have a vision of a wife, right? But you realize after watching her for a little while that maybe there's certain things that you don't like. Now, why would you pursue that woman and then expect her to change those things, knowing that she was always like that in the first place? This is what I mean by lack of authenticity. And if we're honest, for those of us that have been in relationships before or been married before, we will know that one of the main reasons of the breakdown of that marriage or relationship was, on one of our parts, a lack of authenticity. And I know most of us aren't going to admit that, but I'm going to admit that today. I'm going to tell you 100% that has been one of the major issues in the past. And I've spoken to hundreds of you who've been in my programs, been in my workshops or whatever, been under the sound of my voice, and you've also affirmed that. You've also said that has been what's happened in the past. And so my goal is always to make you realize that you can have the life of your dreams now. You don't have to wait. Jesus said the kingdom is at hand. The kingdom is here. The kingdom is in you. The issue is, are you willing to be one of the few that go that way? Or are you wanting to follow the crowd? Now, honestly, I've said this before, and it's funny because I remember someone posted some interesting comments, or they sent me DMs about different things. And I think that you have to understand, what is it worth? Is it worth it for you to be in a relationship or marriage that looks good on paper, where everybody's like 1,000 likes, 3,000 likes, and your followers go up to like a million followers in one day, for the sake of you not actually having a life that you love, of you going home, lying next to someone that you genuinely don't like, that you don't know why you're together, you're only together for the sake of how it looks on the gram and things like that. And I'm not saying that God's not going to give you someone who's aesthetically pleasing, because of course looks matter. I mean, honestly, you're not going to pursue me if you don't feel like I'm attractive, period. Like, that's very stupid. If you are not attracted to me, why would you be with me? It doesn't make sense to me. That's dumb. So we're not talking about aesthetics here. I'm saying beyond aesthetics won't be enough to keep your marriage. Let's put it that way. You can't only, like, let's use me because I'm here and we're talking about myself right now. And I'm bringing you in because I want you to understand this. You can't just assume if you want a particular type of wife and you already know by what I posted, by what I share or how I speak, that I'm not that person. But because you think I'm pretty, you're like, oh yeah, I want to be with Rachel. That's not going to work for you. I promise you we will not be happy, because guess what? I'm actually showing up as my authentic self. And so you have to realize that by you showing up as your authentic self, that's how you magnetize your dream life. God wants you to be the most powerful and just glorious version of who you are. And every time you do that, you're going to see the things that you're able to magnetize, the manifestations in your life that start to increase because of your ability to own who you are. Now, this is the hard part. Yeah, exactly. Of course, that doesn't last long term, exactly. And that's what we're here for. We're here for till death do us part. That is the goal. The goal is always till death do us part. And the best way that we're going to be able to do that is with authenticity. I'm super clear, crystal clear, on the lifestyle that I've created for myself. I'm super crystal clear on the lifestyle that I live currently. And then I'm crystal clear on the kind of lifestyle I'd like in the future. And so because of that, there are a lot of things that I say no to that to other people might be amazing, or you would go for it. And I feel like that's amazing. So on that post that I was referring to, where women were like, yeah, if he pays all my bills, I'm going to cook every day. I'm like, great. Do that because you love it. Don't do it because you feel like you should pay him back. You need to do that because that is who you are as a woman. Understand that we're all going to have our various needs, desires, and whatever. But a lot of times we do things because we feel like we owe people, or because we don't feel worthy of said relationship. And I want to tell you something. This is where we're at here in this conversation. When you do things out of a lack of worth, that person, especially for a woman, if you do things and you doing it because you want him to see your worth, or you want him to see your worthy, or you want to prove to him that you're the best thing ever, it never actually works out very well. Because guess what? What he's probably going to do is leave you for somebody who actually holds him to a higher standards. And I'm not talking about divorce. I'm talking about in general, like in relationships, in dating, in pursuit, and so on and so forth. But when you hold yourself to a higher standard, you invite everybody else in your life to also treat you the same. You have to realize this in order to see and be honest. I'm very honest with myself about where I'm at in my life. I'm very honest about my flaws and my mistakes or detours or whatever. And I think that the missing thing with a lot of people in 2023, which is 2023 at the time of this recording, is that we don't want to be honest with ourselves. But if in this season, in the second half of this year, as we move into the second half of this year, you can radically and dramatically transform what you receive in your life by your ability to be authentic with who? Yourself first. And so when I'm praying, when I'm speaking to the Lord, one of the things that I'm saying is, how can I become more and more like you today? And I want you to think about that, even as you go throughout the rest of this week. We're on Monday and we've got so much left to do in the rest of this year. And I got some news this morning about the passing of a relative. And honestly, in those seasons, that is when I realize how short time is. And we have to come to this place where, have you lived the life that you were born for? Have you truly done, been, said, breathed the way that you were always designed to live? And for many of you, the answer is going to be no. You've held yourself back. You've allowed other people to call you names. You've allowed other people to say who you are. But you have to decide, who am I going to be in this season? Okay. So I know that was a little bit deep, and that was a lot that I shared in that time. But I also want to invite you to ask questions. So if you'd like to ask any questions, there is a question box at the bottom. So if you hit the question button, you'll be able to send me questions, and then I'll be able to answer your questions, whatever they might be at this time. And I also want to let you know, for the ladies that are watching, the doors are closing to Feminine Mystique, which is my 8-week program, which will be starting in July. And we're going to be talking about the idea of inspire his lead and become his muse. What does it look like to inspire leadership and to inspire inspiration in your man? So if you're interested in that, you can get the link. I will message you. If you write on this video, I will send you the details. The doors are going to be closing really soon. But while I'm waiting, I wonder if there's anybody who has any questions. If you have any questions about what I've shared, or would like any insight as to anything I've shared, then please do write a question in the comments, and I'd love to answer your questions. Because what I've realized, as I've said, is that oftentimes we look at what other people are doing. And I don't want you to live a life that is a mirror of me, anybody else, anybody that you admire. Maybe not me, but someone that you admire or look up to, whatever. And you're like, oh, I want her life. I want his life. I want their marriage. Don't idolize marriage or married people. You need to understand that they are just people just like you. And that it's up to you to take personal responsibility over your life, so that you can see, how am I living in the abundance that was brought for me? By you pretending to be somebody that you're not, that is one way that you are demagnetizing yourself from the life of your dreams. When you pretend to follow trends, when you pretend to want to be this or that, or whatever the current trends are in relationships or marriages, that's why I'm not afraid to say the things that I say and be the only one. I don't really care if nobody else says they like what I have to say. What I'm clear about is having clarity on your own dreams. You don't need to have clarity on so-and-so's dreams, but yours. And therefore, like I said, and I want to reiterate this one more time, this is why I have noticed that I have been able to have a much better life since I was 100% authentic all of the time. Not some of the time, all of the time. That's why if you ever hear me preach at church, it will be very similar topics quite often. Let me just read this. Okay, so there's a question here. Isn't putting your best foot forward and being fake the problem? And thank you so much for saying I look amazing. I appreciate that. So putting your best foot forward and being fake. So I feel like those are two different things. I put my best foot forward pretty much every single day. And you can do that without being fake, because the best version of yourself is being authentic. And so, for example, for me, putting my best foot forward on a slow day. So Mondays, because I minister at church, I sing, lead worship, and I preach, pastor. So on a Monday for me is like a down day. I'm not like fully made up. I'm not like dressed up. I'm just like super casual. But for me, even on a day like today, I have only so I'll give you an example. So in my closet, I only have, when it comes to casual clothes, they're still pretty nice. Like I've got this brown bodysuit on, and I've got like a floral skirt. Doesn't require ironing, just like super easy items to put on that still look put together, but it is not being fake, but it's my best foot forward for a slow day. Does that make sense? And so it's the authentic version of me, because I don't carry any items in my closet that are like sloppy, or like, you know, I don't really do the whole tracksuit and loungewear thing, or wear like I don't know how to explain it, but I don't wear leggings and just like things like that. So I have certain things in my wardrobe that help me to cultivate the life that I want. Does that make sense? And so by putting my best foot forward, that is your authentic version. And you can still do it in levels. It doesn't mean, as I said, it's not about copying me. It's about understanding, what does the best version of me look like? And you get the answer in prayer. You get the answer in self-discovery, in knowing what you like and what you don't like. The problem is, a lot of people don't know what they like and what they don't like because they're afraid that somebody isn't going to like them for them. But what I've come to understand, and this is something I've been helping my clients with for the last few years or so, is that I have made a decision that it doesn't matter if 20 people don't like me, as long as the ones who are magnetized to my voice like me. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because oftentimes we can make these things sound more complicated than they are. So I'm going to post a link, and if you're interested in joining me, the link is going to be there, and then you can join me. And we've got a few more days before this. Let me see if I can pin this comment. Yep. So I pinned the comment there. And if you're interested in joining me, it is my 8-week program, which does begin very soon. And the doors are closing really soon. And what it is that 8 weeks. And we're talking about unlocking the secrets to becoming a captivating muse and inspiring love and commitment that you desire. And the main concepts of what we're talking about for these 8 weeks are embracing your femininity, discovering the secrets of your womanhood, unleashing your inner queen, allowing yourself to create and cultivate emotional connection. That's a big thing. Some of you don't know how to inspire emotional connection because you're disconnected from who you are, which goes back again to what I was saying about being authentic. That when you're authentic and you are the woman that God has created you to be, you won't be disconnected from your body. You won't be disconnected from your spirit, because you'll know that this is how I show up in the world. We're also going to be talking about navigating relationship challenges and creating a vision long term for your future, and so on and so forth. And so today, what I've been talking about for this entire time really has been about being authentic. And especially for ladies and gentlemen that are watching this, for all of you really, of course, authenticity is really going to be the key to you unlocking the rest of your future. And I know that specifically today I've been talking about romantic relationships, dating and marriage. But I want you to know that this also relates to other areas of your life too. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you present yourself as, you all know I like to talk about being a queen. So if I present myself as a queen, that means that I only eat things that nourish my body. I make sure I take my supplements. I make sure, those of you that know me know that I am precious about my sleep. I do not want to have any less than 8 hours sleep in a night. I only love to go to exquisite and beautiful places to eat. We were at church yesterday, actually. I'll tell you a funny story as I close out. We were at church yesterday, and my mum was preaching, and she said that, I'm not talking about going to a restaurant that's 125 pounds a plate, like some of you. And then there was a cry from the audience, like Rachel. And I laughed. I was like, oh, good job. Good one, everybody. But it made me, even though I laughed, it made me smile, because it means that it is known that that is what I have as a standard. And I don't only go to places that are like super expensive. I just tend to be taken to those places more often than I do to regular places. You know why? Do you know why? Do you know why I don't get lowballed for dates? You know why I don't get asked on nonsense things, and I don't even have certain conversations anymore? It's because of how I present myself. I'm authentic about that. So when someone's like, hey Rachel, do you want to go on a date? They're suggesting certain level of things. Or, Rachel, where, I'd like to go on a trip. Where would you like to go? And I already know I'm like, oh, what are you suggesting? And then what their suggestions are, they're going to be a certain quality because of how I present myself. Or if they're like, hey, Rachel, I saw something I'd like to buy you. What do you think? I already know that the choices they're going to give me are going to be for a woman of my caliber because of the value I placed on myself. Do you see how that works? And the last thing I'll say about this is that when you create this kind of vision for your life, everybody isn't going to want to go with you. Everybody isn't going to want to go with you. But this is the thing, is that even Jesus, even though he spoke to the multitudes and the multitudes gathered whenever he would speak, then at one time there was, even at the upper room after he died and rose again, there was 120 in the upper room. And even when he was living, there was sometimes the 12, sometimes the 70, and most of the time there was just the 3. So you do not have to please the entire planet. You have to make sure that your message is authentic, and those who need to hear it will be the ones who need to hear. That is what's important, is that you are authentically showing your heart. And for ladies that are watching this, if you've been hurt in the past and you're wondering, should I open up my heart again for love? I know it's hard. I completely understand, because I have been hurt too in the past. However, you have to learn that that was then and this is now. And that you get to, as you heal your heart, as you begin to allow God to do the work, the inner work in your spirit, you will start to see that you'll be able to heal from the pains of the past so that you can receive and magnetize the love that you're always worthy of. Just because something happened in the past, it doesn't mean that it is a marker for your future. The Bible talks about this over and over again. And I don't even know why I'm going in this direction. But the Bible talks about this so many times, that the children of Israel, the reason why they missed sometimes what God was doing is because they were looking for what he used to do. They were looking for what he used to do, not realizing that God can do something new in this season. And so even if you're looking to move on in your life, whether it's a career-wise, whether it's relationship-wise, whether it's whatever, make sure you're doing these things for the right reasons. Someone sent me a TikTok the other day where it said that certain women, when they have a breakup, what they do is go and get another degree, which is really sad. That we feel like in order to have a sense of self-worth, I must get another accolade. I must go and dive deep into books and become more educated or whatever, or buy a new book or buy a new house, or do these things that give me material gain, but then don't heal my heart. If you're that type of woman and you're watching this today, then my work is absolutely perfect for you. My classes, books, everything will be perfect for you. Because what I've realized is that when we don't allow ourselves to do the work on our hearts, we try to find the happiness outside of ourselves, whether that's especially black women. And this TikTok is hilarious, and I think I might repost it and talk about it another time. That the answer to a breakup isn't to go and get another degree. The answer to a breakup is not to go and buy a new house. The answer to a breakup is not to, I don't know, cut your hair or whatever. Like, whatever the things that we do, that we try to prove that we're, amazing, because we don't realize that we're actually trying to show that person that hurt us that we're worthy. What you need to know is that you're worthy no matter what. That your worth is not determined by what somebody else says. Your worth is not determined by how many accolades you have, or how many degrees you have, how much money you make. I have women that sit in my chair, virtual chair, or those that meet me in my luxurious coaching intensives, which are about application only. So if you want one of those, I'm going to be in Atlanta. I forgot to say this. I'm going to be in Atlanta in August. So if anyone wants to book a in-person luxury coaching intensive, you can message me today. I think I have 3 spaces. So you can message me today if you want to meet me in Atlanta in August. And I'll have women that will sit in my chair, that will sit on my couch, as it were, or they'll be on the phone with me, and they will tell me about how amazing they are. They will tell me about how much money they make. They will tell me about how many houses they've built and all these things and all the things that make them such great women. And I will ask them, and then my question will be, how's your heart? How's your heart? How do you feel? What's going on in your mind right now? And the amount of times that women will just break down because no one has ever asked them how that is. Because for too long, we have allowed ourselves to compete with men when it comes to accolades, when it comes to celebrations, when it comes to these material things, not realizing the most valuable thing about a woman is not her assets, external assets. It's about this asset here. What is your heart saying? Are you someone who's warm? Are you someone who's open, who's inviting, who's engaging? Are you someone who's able to gain and build an emotional connection? And do you know your magnetic charm? I'm aware of my magnetism. I'm aware of my sexual energy, my feminine energy. I'm very much aware of it. And therefore, you're able to magnetize certain things to you because of your level of understanding. And then the last thing we're going to be talking about inside of this program, Feminine Mystique, is integration and transformation. Because it is about understanding that it's not about just today. One of my favorite quotes from Marcus Aurelius is, what you do today will echo in eternity. Which obviously, if you've seen Gladiator, you know that's what's said in the movie. And it's important that we create new pathways in our minds, in our bodies, that we begin to embody the essence of divinity for men and women. For men, divine masculinity, and for women, divine femininity. And now, a lot of people ask me about, what about men? What about men? I don't teach men what to do. I don't believe it's a woman's job to teach men what to do. I can recommend male coaches like R.C. Blake's and a few other people that I really, really love. But ultimately, my job is to be a Naomi to the roofs out there. My job is to just begin to share my experiences and give you practices that actually work. Like, what I say works. Whether you believe in hypergamy or you believe in only marrying a provider or you believe in women not having, to work and things like that, just take all that out of the picture. Whilst those are things that I believe, you don't have to believe them. But what you will learn from my teachings and from my classes and things like that is that the idea is that becoming someone who is magnetic, irresistible, and has this feminine charm that can only come from a heart that's whole, you'll learn that when you work with me. When you decide that you want to enroll in one of my courses or take one of my programs or whatever. And as I said, if you're in Atlanta or you can get to Atlanta in August, message me today, because I'm expecting for those spots to go by the end of the week. And also this program that I've linked here, that I've pinned here in the comments, the doors are only open till the end of the month. And then after that, we're going to be closing it. And in July, I'm opening up something entirely different. And even the way that I run my business, those of you, you'll be able to see that I'm not about actual working. I'm really about like, hey, how does this feel? Do I want to share this story today? Even the content that I create, it's about, this is what I've learned today. This is what I've read in the Bible today. This is what the Lord showed me today. Let me create content that relates to that. I share with you the stories that God shows me. I share with you posts that make sense and how we can have a discussion. Even in the way that I show you how I do my business, will show you what it looks like to live a life where I am heart-centered, where I live a life where I am in my softness, where I am understanding that I'm a queen and I get to choose how my life looks. I don't say yes to every single date. I don't say yes to every single man that asks me out. I do not put myself in places or situations where I'm not going to be put first. And you have to decide that for yourself. What does it look like for me to understand that I am fearfully and wonderfully made? And so if you're thinking about any of these things that I've spoken about, feel free to send me a message here on Instagram. And if you're watching this replay on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to send me a message. The information will be somewhere in the comments or descriptions. And you'll feel free to reach out to me. My DMs are open and I will respond. However, I'm going to respond to anything related to the things that I've spoken about, all right? I do have some boundaries around some other areas, but you're welcome to go ahead and reach out to me. I hope everybody has an amazing day. And ladies, I hope to see you inside of Feminine Mystique. We'll be closing the doors at the end of this month. And once more, if you're in Atlanta or near Atlanta, I will be in Atlanta in August. And if you'd like to meet me there, you are welcome to do so. I am keeping this replay up. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the lovely comments and all the messages. You guys are so sweet. My hair extensions are by Papa Chichi. I think I've tagged her a few times. So if you want to know how to get in touch with her, I will put her information in my story, or you can send me a message and I will let you know. I hope you all have an amazing Monday, and just reach out to me if you have any questions. Yes, Jason, I know it's you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all again soon. All right, bye.